plane I can watch. It will be on. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll ask my husband to. I'll do the download.
Okay, so today it's very interesting. The one गीता में से जो हम हमेशा बात करते हैं कर्म और कर्म उसकी हम डिस्कस
that is the most important part.
Yeah, actually that is very discussing is very important.
But उसका I mean कृष्ण भगवान ने बहुत अच्छे से समझाया और चिन्मयानंद जी तो the master.
Because when I read the whole Gita many times, this was the most important part I heard, because that in scientific terms tells you how you can reduce your stack and get moksha.
Right.
Because if you work everything in a karma
and there are a couple of like points in it.
No consequences. And then you reduce your stack of whatever karma you have left. And all you need is leave your desires.
The desires में उसमें घुल जाता है, because as the fruit is ripening, then you begin to see that क्या अभी desire.
Yeah, because your value of those things become less.
Yeah.
See, basically the way I look at it, you learn the whole concept.
Right.
And if you know the goal, there are various approaches, can be slightly different, but that does not matter.
Yeah.
किसी को कोई पाठ अच्छा लगता है, किसी को कोई, पर पहुंचना हमें वही है.
वो मिल ही जाता है.
और पहुंचना, लेकिन हमको वही पाठ चूज करना है जो हमारे को सूट करता है, जो हम उसमें प्रोग्रेस कर सकते हैं, you know.
चलो मंत्र.
Okay. Prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Bhurvasva Tashaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. So this one, I chose these verses. They are from chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
And they are 16, 17 and 18.
Wow.
And the 16 one is a pretty simple one, but that will create like a background that we will move forward with.
Yeah.
So the chapter 4 verse 16 in Sanskrit I will just read.
Right.
Kim karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yagnatva mokshase shubhat. So the translation is, this is what Krishna Bhagavan is saying. What is action? What is inaction? So karma and akarma. As to this, even the wise are deluded. So he's saying that it is so complicated that even wise get deluded in it. Therefore, I shall teach you action, and in parentheses it says the nature of action and inaction. So action combines both. Knowing which you shall be liberated from the evil. And in parentheses, evil ka translation Swamiji ne diya, of sansar, the wheel of birth and death. Because in the Vedantic term, when that's called kind of evil, you have to just understand the kind of hidden meaning behind it. Yeah. Because that is our goal, right? To get out of this sansar chakra.
This cycle of life and death.
So basically, the way Swamiji explained is that in normal terms, when somebody says action and inaction, the simple डेफिनेशन है इसकी, भाई कुछ कर रहे हो तो एक्शन है, नहीं कर रहे हो तो इनएक्शन है, वो सभी यही सोचते हैं. But that's a popular definition. So everyday activity maybe that kind of thing is acceptable. But he's saying, and I'll just read this, what he said.
What is the verse? I was getting the book out.
It's 16
16?
of chapter 4.
16.
Yeah.
ये है. What is
Kim karma karmeti. So this commentary, because I highlighted, so I'm going to just read it.
Right.
For purpose of self-development, when we consider action, it is not to be valued merely by observing its manifested qualities, but we must also take into consideration the unmanifested but subtly working motives behind the very same action. So in simple words, when we see an action, we should not take it at face value.
Right.
Because उसके पीछे motive क्या है, वो
उसका
सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है.
भाव जानना
Like like simplest example, कोई घर में आया तो आओ जी और अंदर बोल रहे है क्यों आया अभी तुम, so हमारा मोटिव खराब हो गया वहाँ पे, and हम उसको कितना भी वो करे लेकिन हमको उसका कोई फल नहीं मिलने वाला. It is going to go opposite, so that was probably simplest one. So then he says, an action in itself cannot be considered either as good or bad. It is the motive behind it which determines the quality of action.
Right.
Just as the beauty of the fruit is not the last word for its edibility, but it depends upon its contents. Because certain fruits look so attractive, but they are not edible. But the others look ugly, but they are so tasty from inside. So too, a beautiful action in itself could be a poisonous act of criminality. So ऊपर से दिखेगा बहुत अच्छा कोई कर रहा है, अंदर it is an act of criminality if the motive behind is low and vicious.
Right.
So that we can understand. So here he's saying that's why, because of this character of it, it becomes complicated. Even the great wise people get confused about it. Because कभी-कभी हमको अपने आप में भी confusion होता है, हम जब कोई action कर रहे हैं कि because हमारे विचार कुछ contaminate हो जाते हैं अंदर से, maybe anger, jealousy, something comes, and then the action is not going to be good. And we say, okay, physically I'm doing it. And our Acharya used to explain that when you do an action, so it's like 1/3 body, 1/3 mind, 1/3 intellect. सबका mixture करके उसका फल मिलेगा. So body से कुछ किया एकदम waste नहीं जाएगा वो, लेकिन अगर हमारा mind and intellect साथ में नहीं है तो 2/3 खराब हो गया फिर.
Right.
लेकिन sometimes, suppose if you are doing an action and I know that wrong thoughts are coming in my mind, but I realize it and I'm trying to get over it, then again it becomes a little better, right? So
because at least you're trying.
Exactly.
तुमको अंदर का भाव
मालूम पड़ गया कि भाई हाँ मुझे ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. और गुड एग्जाम्पल है इसकी, जैसे अपने भाई बहन आएंगे तो हम कितना खुशी खुशी सब कुछ करते हैं, ससुराल वाला कोई आया तो कभी कभी हमको बोझा लगता है. Oh my God, because we are not that much connected with them, but then we have to say that okay, if I'm a married person, that for my husband they are as important as my own brothers and sisters, so I have to treat them, those kind of simple things that how we have to just.
वो अभी किसी ने भेजा था ना व्हाट्सएप पे, किसको भेजा था, somebody sent के husband ने wife को बोला कि mother is coming at 4 o'clock in the morning, so we have to go pick her up. She said अभी last month तो आई थी तुम्हारी mother, why is she coming 4 o'clock, blah 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 blah. She went on.
तुम्हारी माँ.
Then उसने बोला वो मेरी माँ नहीं तुम्हारी माँ आ रही है. कहती oh, then we get up at 2 o'clock and go there.
Yeah. So I mean, this is like a. So and here he says the word kavi, because इसमें ना kavi word use किया है.
अच्छा.
कि कवियो wise के लिए kavi word है, तो he did make a comment. The word kavi nowadays mainly used for the poets was the name for the rishis, the seer of Upanishadic declaration.
Right.
Any inspired man recognizing and expressing a truth that was noble and immortal was called a kavi.
Yeah.
Here it is. This is amazing. It's right here. Okay. So now, after stating the difficult problem of discriminating between action and inaction, Krishna promises here that he will teach Arjuna. So this creates a good background for us. So now we go.
Yeah.
So to the next one.
Right.
So it's a 17. So since you are following that,
No, it's
17.
Hmm.
कर्मणो यपि बोद्धव्यं च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोद्धव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः. So he says, for verily the true nature of right action should be known, also that of forbidden or unlawful action and of inaction imponderable is the nature of action. It sounds very confusing, but I'll just say what it is. So now here what Swamiji is saying, that he's analyzing what, there are certain kind of action that we should do, others are totally forbidden. And people, most of the people we know, what are the forbidden? Don't steal,
Don't kill somebody.
yeah, everybody knows that. Even the
And
guy
that
who
is
does
written
it
in your
knows.
heart.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
within.
So usko to karna hi
Your
nahi hai.
consciousness bolti hai.
And then in the Vedic thing, they go little bit further also, don't drink sharab, this, that. So, but we know that the people who are on that path, वो धीरे धीरे अपने आप छूट जाती है चीजें. Because they are wrong. या तुम meditate करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, शराब पी के तुम्हारा mind dull हो रहा है. So the person who is going to be on that path is going to start dropping those things, So basically, here because of word inaction is used, first Swamiji explained that, look, life means activity. So a stagnant water is going to become सड़ जाएगा stagnant.
वो सबके ऊपर बोझ ही हो जाएगा.
हाँ. तो मतलब inaction को ये तो भूल ही जाओ कि कुछ करना नहीं है, खाली बैठना ही है, right? So that's why he's saying that first we need to know that life means activity, and then he says that that's like a cornerstone of our life, activity. And then he said the only time you don't do activities when you are in deep sleep. तब तुम कोई कर्म न कुछ खराब कर्म हो रहा है, नहीं अच्छा कर्म हो रहा है, means neither you are progressing nor you are going down. So that's the only period when you are alive,
Right.
is no activities happening, but other than that it is. So then he says that now we should look upon what is activity. So there could be two types, constructive and destructive activities. So constructive is, it's going to bring us up in the spiritual path, and उसको उन्होंने divide किया है 3 चीजों में. एक है daily duties we should be doing. So that we already know. I mean, depending on the station of our life.
अपना क्रियामान कर रहा मुझे करना.
हाँ, जो हम the station of your life, like if you are a householder, then you have a certain duty. If you are a sannyasi, you have a certain duty. Even different stages of life. If I have small kids, I have another duty. Middle.
Right.
So we all know that, right? So वो हो गया daily duties. And then there are special duties. Naimittik karma. एक होता है उसको नित्य कर्म. नित्य, daily. Naimittik is special occasion. So as a person of society, we should be doing that. According to that becomes my duty too. किसी का celebration हो रहा है, कोई family में wedding है, ये नहीं कि ओ मेरा मन नहीं है जाने का, नहीं है तो भी जाओ, because तुम्हारी duty है. तो वो नैमित्तिक करना.
हाँ, दूसरों के लिए सेलिब्रेट कर अपने आप को विशालता में लाओ.
Exactly. तो वो भी एक उस action में आ जाता है, अच्छा वाला action में, And then so नित्य नैमित्तिक हो गया. And then काम्य कर्म is purposeful when self-determined for winning a desirable result or reward. Even that is okay. As long as it's not hurting anybody. If you have a certain desire, you work towards it, you get it. So ये 3 action हो गए, it's okay to do. And then वो destructive वाला, हम उसको तो it's saying don't do it, because that will bring you down. So we already know. So now he also explains that in Vedantic terms, when they talk, say karma, जैसे वेदों में, they meant rituals. That was a definition for karma, like कर्म कांड सुना होगा ना?
कर्म कांड.
हाँ, कर्म कांड है ना? तो वो भाई ये यज्ञ करो, वो यज्ञ करो, पूजा पाठ and all that, उसको कर्म कांड बोलते थे, कर्म, right? लेकिन वो एक जमाना था जब लाइफ सिंपल थी, लोग इतना कॉम्प्लिकेशन नहीं था, तो वो लोग का एक बड़ा भाग उसमें जाता था, and that was for higher purpose.
Right.
Because you are invoking God, you are doing the yagna, you're doing yagna spirit. We all learned what it was, that सभी मिलके करते थे बरसात होने के लिए वगैरह वगैरह. उसमें अपने आप evolution होता था spiritual. But then he very interestingly explained कि by the time Mahabharata time came, society changed.
Right.
Lot of bad things came in, like
Right.
by the time of Mahabharata war, political intrigues and mutual hatred, which are common in all competitive societies, we know it is right now, had sprung up, and therefore the members of the community had neither the patience nor the quiet leisure to enter into elaborate ritualism of the Vedas. आज भी पूरा वही हाल है. कोई हमको बोले हमारा दिमाग खराब हो जाएगा कि भाई बैठ के ये सब करो, नहीं, I don't want to do all that, So then he's saying that in such situation, Bhagavad Gita was given that, okay, forget about that Karam Kand and all that. You don't have neither have time nor you have patience to do. We will show you, Krishna Bhagavan said, with the same purpose, we can show you another path of doing karma. So that's how this Gita is a revolution in Vedanta, that keeping the basic principles same for the common man who lives in a competitive society, how he can go forward. Okay, so he said that karma need not be ritualism, but it can bring within its embrace all dedicated activities. कोई भी अच्छा काम को हम वो कर्मा के अंदर ला सकते हैं. And then, so that's why later on in Krishna Bhagwan will say in chapter 9, तुम जो भी कुछ करो, झाड़ू लेने से लेकर और एकदम से बड़ा काम करना हो, dedicate to me.
Yeah.
Right? You all know, you've read that. So he goes that far, every work can turn into a worship.
Right.
Right? You don't need to go specially do anything. Whatever you are doing, and that's why that whole Puranic story, very famous one, is there, and I'm sure you've heard it, कि this fellow sadhu ने तपस्या करके थोड़ा gain कर लिया, ये क्या बोलते हैं, siddhis, and then he goes to a housewife's door.
Yeah.
You know that story?
Yeah.
Okay, तो housewife के door पे गया और बोला भिक्षा दे. तो वो बोली थोड़ी देर में देती हूँ, my husband has just come home, I want to feed him and then I'll give. तो इसको गुस्सा आ गया, बोला मैं खड़ा हूँ और तू मेरे को भिक्षा नहीं दे रही है. और नहीं, इसके पहले ये हुआ था कि जब उसको सिद्धि मिली ना, तो उसको एक बर्ड थी वहां पे, और उसने उसकी तरफ देखा, वो बर्ड भस्म हो गई, गुस्से से देखा, तो उसको लगा आई सिद्धि आ गई मुझे. फिर जब वो गया ना, फिर ये हुआ कि वो बोली कि, तो वो इसको जब क्रोध आया तो वो बोली कि मैं कोई वो बर्ड नहीं हूँ, वो चिड़िया तो तेरे उससे भस्म हो जाएगी, भस्म हो जाऊंगी मैं. ये तो पानी हो गया, इसको कैसे पता चला? सो देन ही से हाउ डिड यू, बाद में जब वो आई खाना वाना खिला के, देन ही थोड़ा सा हम्बल हुआ, तो वो कहती कि तुमको यू वांट टू गो ऑन द स्पिरिचुअल पाथ, गो एंड वॉच दैट व्याद इज द गाय हु, और वो लाइक अ बुचर.
Oh yeah, right.
Go to butcher's place and see how he functions.
Right.
And he is very advanced in spirituality.
Right.
First, हम लोग सोचेंगे butcher, वो तो he kills the animals. How can he be? But that was his profession.
His duty, yeah.
Profession, so he did it. But then they saw that how he was dealing with the customers, how everything he did with shanti and balance, and then he took care of his old parents, and every duty he did, and he was always like calm and serene and God in his mind. And then he realized that action by itself is nothing, but is the motive and how you do it. So anyway, so I brought that up. Everybody knew that story.
Right.
Where was I? Now I lost why I said that story. That happens, right? You get, yeah, ritualism and all that I was talking about. So he was saying, yes, to bring everything under the umbrella of that karma, but in the right way, can bring us up. So that's
भाव अपना अंदर का बदल दो.
right, exactly. So Krishna here expounds the theory of self-development. So he says, I already discussed that, the forbidden action mat karo. Uska naam hai vikarma. I don't know if you have heard of that.
Yeah.
Vikarma is
Karma,
forbidden
karma.
action.
And
Vikarma, yeah.
So then self-development ke liye, then we need to do karma.
Right.
And then, but here we should know Krishna completely rejects the inactivity of karma in that context. He by lazy ban jao.
Right.
So when we say a karma, एक meaning है lazy बनना. So वो तो छोड़ ही दो तुम. That he is not saying. So, but then he is saying a karma. So now what Swamiji says that we know that Krishna Bhagavan does not mean कि भाई lazy बन जाओ. So what does it mean, a karma? That's what हम सभी को यही सीखना है ना कि क्या कर. So now the punchline comes that actionlessness means that is the selfhood. And in one of the verses, which you may have known that verse, he uses the word I am the non-doer. And in which verse he uses it, जो वो चातुर वर्ण बोलते हैं उसको, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि I am the author of the 4 castes. But the caste word is very wrong word. It's chatur varna. Chatur varna is nothing but the makeup of your mind and how you do, how is your temperament of the mind, and then you work according to your temperament. That's how the varna system came about. In that verse he says, even though I'm the author, I'm a non-doer. So that word was introduced over there. So he's saying that how do you become that non-doer? That's what is the main thing. And instead of inactivity, Swamiji has coined the word unactivity.
Right.
So that is the akarma के 2 meaning है. एक तो वो inactivity, there's laziness, not that. एक है unactivity.
Right.
कर्म करते हुए भी नहीं कर रहे हो.
नहीं कर.
Right?
Yeah.
इतना हमने सुना
That
था.
is what Krishna's life was.
So that is like a sattvic state of joy and peace.
Right.
That you're doing everything in a completely balanced way, but you are a non-doer, and we will go elaborate what that means. So basically, so three terms we learn.
Right.
एक है विकर्म,
Right.
and और एक है कर्म और sorry अकर्म and कर्म.
Right.
So और अकर्म में unactivity and inactivity.
Right. Right.
So we are going to be discussing unactivity.
Right.
So that